Shalom Aleichem and a good morning. Chevra, Heilige Chevra online. Wonderful Chevra, ladies, gentlemen, in person. B'Shem Kol Yisrael, Be'ezras Hashem Yisbarach. I would like to start K'pshutai with change and transitioning. Chevra, wherever we were a few minutes ago, we've come into this space. Just take a minute, not even a minute, it could be 10 seconds, 5 seconds. Das Tachtoin Chitzoni. Das Tachtoin Chitzoni, to be aware of the space you are in. Just to look around, to be aware of the space that you are in. Das Tachtoin Chitzoni, to be aware of the colors, of the objects, of where things begin and end. And then take a moment. Das Tachtoin Pnimi, Ma Ani Margish Begufani. What's going on in my body right now? And again, it doesn't have to take long. Seconds. Just a body scan. What's going on in my body right now? I'm not sure what that breath meant, but it meant something. My body knows. That's the way we work. Now emotions, what regesh, what feelings am I experiencing right now? Just to be aware of. Don't have to change anything. Awareness of feelings. And just notice any images inside your mind, any thoughts you could hear, any dialogue. And come to remember, you are the witness. You are the witness. You are the part that's behind all the animation. You are that part, the das. You are that ruach part of neshama, ruach and nefesh. You are that part that could be aware of the space that you are in. You are the part that could be aware of your thinking. You are relating to your narrative. You're relating to your nefesh. You're relating to the stories that are coming up and being shared with you in the moment. And guess what? You are the mechanic over your mechanisms. You are the mechanic. You have the ability through Avodas Hashem, through understanding the derech that we're sharing, this derech of Avodas Hashem, you are the ones that can make that change. And that's something very important to think about. Baruch Hashem, starting off just by Leilu Nishmas Yaakov Binyamin ben Rachamim, Leilu Nishmas Reisha Devar bas Yaakov HaKohen, Leilu Nishmas Chaya Sarah bas Yaakov Leib, Leilu Nishmas Malka bas Zev, Refuah Shalem Mayan bas Devaira Hadassah, and Feivel bas Toiva Fei. Be'ezras Hashem. And may all of the chaburas have continuous success. May all of the chaburas have continuous success. Baruch Hashem, there was another anonymous donor. Another anonymous donor who donated a chunk of Maisamani Chazdei Hashem for the cause. So he should have bracha, mazel and hatzlacha. He should have shalom bayis, shetivne bayis neman b'Yisrael. He should have lots of das. And he sent me a message. He says, listen, he says, in my normative life, this has revolutionized the way that I exist. And he laughed with the broken record. He says, Rabbi Gerzi, you are a broken record, and thank you. That was his Baruch Hashem. So Chazdei Hashem, you should have bracha and hatzlacha, and as well the Kaplan family, you should have bracha, mazel and hatzlacha to Akiva Michael, to the Yavins, bracha, mazel and hatzlacha to all the other viewers in Miami, in California. They reached out. So listen, what we are wanting to do is share wisdom teachings that it's not just nice information. It isn't just nice information. We want to experience change. And if I say the words enough and we practice some sort of experience enough, I'm hoping for you that your lives will improve. You'll feel a bit calmer. You will feel more joy, more centered, more grounded, and you'll be able to navigate life in a better way. That's it. And how do we do that? So by recognizing patterns. Everything works in this universe in patterns. I'm learning right now in another shiur. I wrote a Kuntrus, a Hagdama to Kabbalah. And it's a few different volumes. It's a few volumes. The first volume is a very interesting volume, if I say so myself. Because what I wanted to do, I believe in the style and the expression of the Ramak. Kabbalah is a science. Kabbalah is a science. All of reality revolves around patterns. All of reality revolves around patterns. Wherever you look, it's patterns. There's laws, and we've been speaking about this. There's different governing laws, a law of gravity, a law of entropy. And either we try to live our own lives without the respecting of those laws, that's if we recognize those laws to respect them, or we fit in to the way the world has been created. And everything revolves around patterns. And what's the study of Kabbalah? On a certain respect, one layer of the study of Kabbalah, and we went through this in 6 reasons why Kabbalah is important to learn. That's actually from that first volume. So the reason why Kabbalah is important is because we have to recognize patterns. That's how the human mind works. We learn through patterns. And this nakuda of patterns is incredibly important. And once we are aware the whole world works in patterns, we can come to recognize patterns. So das, there's an awareness, and then it's an awareness of the patterns. So I'm aware that there are fundamental patterns in mathematics, in physics, in chemistry, in biology, in psychology, in philosophy, different psychological modalities. Everything functions in patterns. So I first become aware that there are patterns. Then I become aware of the patterns. So I'm aware that there are patterns, then I become aware of the patterns. Patterns recognition, I recognize there are patterns. And then through and from recognizing there are patterns, I could start to then use those patterns. I can utilize those patterns. I'm aware that there are patterns. I'm aware of the patterns. I could start to utilize those patterns. I could start to utilize those patterns. That means that I'm aware there's an neshama, ruach, and nefesh. That means in the way of the world there's a law. I share these as laws, axiomatic truths. Neshama, ruach, and nefesh. I am the ruach part, the more conscious part, that's who I am. And I have this bodysuit, and in this bodysuit I have my thoughts, feelings, and physical sensations. And that is emes, that's a truth. You can't run away from this stuff. And the way you test it, again, with patterns, the way you test it is by living with it, by contemplating, by thinking, critically thinking, by having conversations. So it's not just an idea that's void of an experience. Pum faket, the experience is always there, and we have to catch up to it. And the more we recognize it, it's like, oh wow, okay. So I've said to you from the beginning, who's to test this? You are. I wish I didn't have to be here. I wish I could just click my fingers, give you the information, and Shalom Yisrael. But life doesn't work like that. Hashem wants us to be together, to grow together. Chibur, chabura. So there's an awareness that there are patterns recognition, then pattern utilization. I'm taking that information that I have become aware of, I'm recognizing the patterns and I'm using it. I was just aware of a thought in the present moment. I just had a nefesh experience. So that is pattern utilization. I'm using now the patterns, whatever they may be. And then you have pattern creation, which is tikkun. Pattern creation is my ability to create new patterns. And in Avodas Hashem, this is something real for us, and we're trying week in, week out to share it. Now, it's so fascinating. I get a lot of messages, and what messages I can share, there's too many messages people send in. Today we'll share a message that someone sent from California. But the nakuda that we want to share is that the reason why broken recordness has to occur is because I have conversations and I can speak to the same person for a number of years, and whether I'm the shliach or somebody else is the shliach, you could say the same words. And I've shared this message before. the shaliach. So I've shared this message before that you can have somebody who shares the same message time and time and time again and it's not received. And that's okay, because the person sharing the message wasn't the shaliach for that recipient. And then that recipient can run outside and say good morning to the garbage collector, the rubbish man, taking the rubbish, and they have a 5-minute chinwag. They have a 5-minute conversation. And in that 5-minute chinwag, the rubbish collector says this sentence may be almost exactly the same as the other person has been sharing. And all of a sudden, whoa! And they run back and they say, you know what the rubbish man just said? He said azoi. He said like this. And the person who's been sharing that message, they could either be in helem, in shock. Haven't I said the same thing for you for the last 1,000 years? Or you can recognize different shlichim. Everything is shliach. Everything is shlichus, everything. And even from week to week, it's a different shlichus. So same person could give the message, but you didn't get it last week, and now you say the message again, now you get it. There's the collective integration of the information, and we hear it time and time again. And I mentioned to you a couple of weeks ago, there was a couple driving in the car, and the husband was going to fast forward, change and transition. And the wife had a go at him. Mamash, you really don't get it. It's so cerebral. You can give this over so nicely, but you don't live it. I live it. You see how much I've changed. I'm more calm and centered and patient, to which he agrees, because she got it. I'm relating to my thoughts in the present moment. I'm relating to my nefesh. Well, I get it. And when I remember, that's what it comes down to. Amalek, Eruv Rav Amalek, they want us to forget this truth. When I remember, it changes everything. Okay, this is what came up now. Thought, I'm going to follow you. Excellent. Feeling, I'm going to trust you. But sometimes nefesh supplies something and you go, that's a bad midah. That's an old part of myself. And that's okay. I know you're there. Thank you for helping me. I'm going to move you to the side and I'm going to move forward in this way. And for her, this has been a tremendously deep change. In regards to him, it's taken more time. Took more time. And what happens is that he comes in to the car and he's about to fast forward. But tachlis is that at that moment, it burst, the bubble burst. He shifted into a state of das. And I've spoken to him several times. He actually contacted me basically for that whole week, every single day. Every single day. And all he wrote was wow. Oh, wow, wow, wow. Because that's the truth of the matter. And again, it's your life. It's your life. I'm trying myself to do this. And one reason why I love to do what I'm doing here, it's very simple. It reminds me. Reminds. You hear the word reminds, memory. Amalek want us to forget. Amalek safek. They want us to forget how we work. And when we forget how we work, typically we hurt. And how much of our lives are we hurting far more than we actually have to? Sounds maybe a little bit odd, but how much of our lives are we hurting far more than we have to? I'll give you an example from a different way of understanding this. One of my teachers, Mr. Nassim, he was my teacher for a number of years, Zichron Levracha. He was from India, and he was a beautiful man. And he taught me in Hazmanin, and he taught we had a unit for, it's funny to say these words today because you get shot for saying something like this. You have learning disabilities. I don't know what you're allowed to say and what you're not allowed to say anymore. But you have learning disabilities, dyslexia, ADHD, whatever it may be. So we had a unit, an SSU. I'm not going to say what we said it stood for, but we had an SSU, and it was a play. Anyone who had learning difficulties, that's where you would go. So I spent most of my years in Hazmanin in SSU. We had Mr. Boka, Shlita, Tzaddik, unbelievable Tzaddik, Baal Shem. And we had this teacher, Indian teacher, was not a Jewish fellow, Mr. Nassim, deeply religious, deeply authentic. deeply respectful, very, very, very good man.
What religion?
He was Christian. He was Christian, and I think whatever it means in that world, he converted. I think he was Hindu. Maybe he was Hindu, and he married an English girl. Whatever. So I remember he said to me that with, for example, dyslexia, so there's a challenge that you are challenged with in processing the letters. Okay, but then when you get stressed, it becomes worse. So now the question is, are you relating to the stress or are you relating to the dyslexia? That was revolutionary for me. Are you relating to the dyslexia or are you relating to the stress? Because anybody who becomes stressed, it will distort their way of expression. It will distort their performance. So is it just the dyslexia or is it the dyslexia plus stress? And then the question is, when now it's to do with the stress, you are suffering more than you have to. Such a deep point. You are suffering more than you have to. Why? Because if you learn and you're given permission from the Lord to dispel the stress, then you're just dealing with the dyslexia. But for so many people, they may have a challenge, but then the overflow of the stress, the overflow of the anxiety now double, triples, masks the original problem, and people suffer a lot more. So now the logic is, and he was 100% right, if you learn to have available to deal with the stress, and you can prepare yourself, and you can reset your nervous system before you study, then we will actually see what the challenges are and work with those challenges. And he taught me to breathe when I first started, and I was doing martial arts, and this is how this came around. But through just breathing and through just relaxing my body, many a time, more than less, many a time, I had the ability to relax my nervous system, my mind, experiencing Yishuv Das, Menuchas HaNefesh, and thereby when I actually went into study, now you could work with the dyslexia. And for so many people, they may have a challenge, but that challenge is exaggerated because of so many more layers. And I find this in the world of, the world of education. People who have educational challenges, when I speak to educators, when I speak to teachers, and I share this yisod, they're like, whoa, that's so simple. It is. Pretty much everything I share is simple. Maybe counterintuitive at times, 100%. It's not difficult, it's different, and it does take effort. But for so many people, there could be a sentence where we construct the sentence, there's far more suffering than there actually needs to be. We don't actually necessarily see what the challenge is because there's so much noise. And this is something for us to think about. The more we know how we work, there's patterns. The more we could recognize those patterns, the more we could have pattern utilization. Then from there we can have pattern creation. That's Avodas Hashem. And that's really Atzilus, Beriah, Yitzir, and Asiya, the four worlds. Av, Sag, Ma, Ben. And this Nukud is so important, my friends. Because as we're functioning from day to day, we want to be able to constantly be living better. You deserve it. We deserve it. We deserve to live very, very well. We're living at the end of days, whatever that means. And the fact that we are still doing what we're doing, kol hakavod to us. Kol hakavod, we deserve to live fantastically. We deserve to live incredibly well. And it's there for the taking. And it comes down to how much and how serious you take it. That's it. That's it. Yes?
Just to clarify, pattern utilization means I become aware and recognize the patterns that are occurring within me, and I'm choosing which to engage with?
Both. I'm aware of neshama, ruach, and nefesh, and I know there's a neshama, ruach, and nefesh, and I'm das, and I'm relating now, pattern utilization, I'm relating to das, I'm relating to life through das and nefesh. It's not just an idea in a book, words on pages. I'm actually living it. I'm living it. I'm in a space where I'm aware there's a nefesh. And then on top of that, pattern utilization is recognizing within my nefesh there are patterns. And I can choose to ignore or explore a pattern. and work with it. And then pattern creation is Tikkun Hamidos, Hachana, Havdalah, Hamtaka. So, Chevra, again, the words that come out of my mouth, however you are meeting them, wherever the shliach is going to come from, and the shliach can come from very unexpected places. It could be I'm talking and talking and talking, weeks and months on end, sometimes years on end, and then you get the aha moment from a goldfish, or you get the aha moment from a pigeon flying around, or a friend who says something, or somebody who is in the pits of hell, whatever it may be. Shlichus. Being a baldas, a balas das, gives you the availability to be awake to that, recognizing everything in this universe is shlichus. And the more we are a baldas, the more we are awake to the world. My incarnation is my curriculum. The message will come around. Chazdei Hashem. And all of us are part of that journey, part of that process. Chazdei Hashem. So I want to share, and this is very much connected. There's a Yid in California who asked a question. He's been listening to a set of shiurim on the letters of the Baal Shem Tov. The letters of the Baal Shem Tov. And it's very fascinating because he basically, his aha moment, it happened through these shiurim that he's watching online, letters of the Baal Shem Tov. And you know, it's Peledic, it's very, very Peledic. So he called me up and he says, have you read the letter of the Baal Shem Tov? To which I said, yes, I read it. I tried to read it, there was a Messiah. The Baal Shem Tov said to his son, and within Chassidus, there's a number of tzaddikim that said to read the letter of the Baal Shem Tov once a month. There's actually 3 letters. 3, what we see are very original letters. I have them in a booklet, and I gave shiur on these 3 letters. I've got the Lashon HaKodesh, the English with a birur, with an explanation. But what happens is the Siyid's been reading the letters and learning the letters of the Baal Shem Tov. And he said, Mamash, the only reason he really has a deeper hasaga in the letters of the Baal Shem Tov, he writes to me, everything that we've been speaking about in the Journey Begins, in Awakening, and in this kuntras that we're doing now, and even from last week, is all, 2 weeks ago, is all in the letters of the Baal Shem Tov. And he's reading this, and it's like, whoa. And I said, yeah, 100%, 100%. And if the Gra wrote a letter, there would be the letter of the Gra in a similar mahalach. There's a different letter from the Gra, but it's not just the letter of the Baal Shem Tov that speaks about Elokus, Olamais, and Neshamais. Olam, Shana, Nefesh, Ruach is the Neshama. You got Elokus, the higher realms, Olamais, the lower realms, and the Neshama. You've got Aliyah Neshama, having the ability to move through the soul parts. And you've got Yabok. People don't know this as a Messiah, that the 3 letters, the 3 holy names that the Baal Shem Tov is speaking about within the letters is Yabok, which is a very important set of holy names, which we're not going into now. But the fact that this letter very much represents in a text everything that we're speaking about. And what does the Baal Shem Tov write here? The Baal Shem Tov writes, he says that Mashiach will come when everyone could do basically soul elevation and yichudim like I can. And the Baal Shem Tov, whether in his humility or it's actually something real, and it could be both, he writes to his brother-in-law, Rabbi Gerzi Kitova. You know, the Baal Shem Tov 300 years ago writes a letter to Rav Gerzi Kitova. Whether it ever got to Rav Gerzi Kitova is a whole question. We have a Messiah, it never got to Rav Gerzi Kitova, but told us Yankov Yosef got the letter. And it's printed in the beginning of Kesef Shem Tov, and it's told us Yankov Yosef. But the Nakuda, he writes that when everyone could do Yechudim and soul elevation like I can, Mashiach will come. And there's a tradition, I heard this from the Kretschner Rebbe, that after Baal Shem Tov, you have the Nistarim, like we've been speaking about, a small group of people that will hold on to these traditions. And it's not just about the soul elevation, it's Ratzav V'Shav, coming back down with that information that you've received. And here, we're speaking about Neshama, Ruach, and Nefesh. Here, we're speaking about our experiences. Really, my friends, really, my friends, everything that is in this letter, everything we're doing are Hagdamas for this. Everything that we are doing are Hagdamas, the introductions. Because the Nakuda is we should learn how to do soul elevation. We should learn how to do Yichudim. There's no reason why not. And the Nakuda of Hagdamas are very important. There's a particular Makubal who gives shir on the Rashash and gives shir on the Arizal. And it sounds very foreign to people. It sounds very, very foreign to people. Yechudim and soul elevation. Well, this is the shame that we experience, that it is foreign to us. It shouldn't be foreign to us. It should be a reality that we have the Nakuda, this point of knowing how we work, and then being, as we said, the mechanic over our own mechanisms and having the ability to experience these experiences. Either the Torah is truth or false. Either we are going to be led back to Ruach HaKodesh and Nevuah or not. And what that looks like. So we have pretty good descriptions of what that's going to look like. We do. Our Sfarim tells us we have pretty much very clear descriptions of what that's going to look like. Question is, are we catching up or not? Are we catching up or not? And the answer is, these are Hagdamas to that. These are Hagdamas. So the letter of the Baal Shem Tov, really important. One day, Bli Neder will edit it, will print it, put it up on the website, Be'ezras Hashem. But the Nakuda is, my friends, again, once again, your lives are worth improving. Your lives are worth improving.
Worth what?
Improving. And we should. So, Chedvar, where we're up to is, we're going to take a couple of deep breaths. And then we will start with our text. Just take a couple of deep breaths. Fill up the lungs, stretch out the lungs, and then breathe out. Shake out your body, your neck, shoulders. Chazda Hashem, we reprinted the Dart booklet, this booklet that we're doing now. Change the name slightly, Dart and Nefesh. Okay, fine. But just a reminder where we're up to. Where we're up to, we went through the three modes of human experiences where we went in depth into the world of the Nefesh. The world of the Nefesh, physical sensations, emotions, fleeting thoughts. The body is a bodysuit, going a little deeper. Okay, and then we went through the exercises and we really opened this up and we've really spoken about this. And this is something, again, incredibly important. The information leads, hopefully, through repetitive exposure to transformation. And Be'ezras Hashem, we should constantly go from strength to strength, understand this in a deeper way. And the second part of the Kuntrus is going more into a qualitative difference between the das, between you and your nefesh. Hopefully giving a qualitative experience enough that you can at least cerebrally recognize what we're speaking about, but for sure experientially come to it in a more wholesome way. That's our goal. So it's labeled Eizehu Ashir, on true wealth, joy, and inner wholesomeness. Foundation of the inner architecture of the human being. And we're going to read through this quickly. We started last week and move forward with it. So introduction, the hidden question of wealth. Pirkei Avos 1:4 offers one of the most deceptively simple and profoundly transformational teachings in our tradition. Eizehu Ashir, who is wealthy? Hasameach b'chelkai, somebody who is sameach with their chelek. Somebody who is sameach with their chelek. Who is wealthy? At first glance, this teaching appears almost modest. It seems to advocate contentment, perhaps even resignation, an ethic of accepting less, desiring less, settling into life as it appears. But beneath this gentle surface lies an entire architecture of the soul, a revolutionary psychology of the human flourishing, and a radically different understanding of joy, worth, and success. So first of all, as we said, just a Musa Heskel, when we're learning, it's to look at the words on the page, the pshat, and it's to recognize words have meaning, especially in Lashon HaKodesh. What's the meaning of this word? Now, it's true to say Lashon HaKodesh has very few words. The way Lashon HaKodesh works is there's roots, And one root can then open up to several layers of meaning of one word. What that does for us is something very profound. Al-pi Sod, Al-pi Kabbalah, it's very much about relationship. It's very much about relationship, and it's very much about context. Yiddishkeit, Torah is very much about context and relationship. Understanding how to look at something for what it is, but then recognizing that which appears separate actually is meyached, is connected to something else. And sometimes two words can have complete opposite meanings, but the root is the same. Geula and Golus. Same root. Geula and Golus. Gal, wave. Tremendous depth, and it's asking of us, it's inviting us to understand the unity of all things, understanding how everything is connected. So these simple words, on one hand, Samech Bechelkai definitely shares with us, be happy with less. That's how people translate it. So then where is growth? Should I be happy with less in my spirituality? Should I be happy with less in my finance? Should I be happy with less in my physicality? Should I be happy with less in my learning? Samech bechelkai. So people will run to say it means be happy with what you have, maybe physically, but then spiritually you want more. So people will try to say, which is true, you look at Rishonim, Samech bechelkai is for Gashmius, not for Ruchnius. All is true, but we can add another dimension. This Mishnah does not speak about the material world. It speaks about the deeper structures of human experience, where a person locates their sense of self, their sense of safety, their real sense of safety, their sense of meaning, their sense of joy. To grasp the depth of this teaching, we must first understand the inner design of the human being itself. So again, anything that I'm sharing with you, think about it. If I'm saying something that doesn't fit in what we've shared so far, if it's missing the sequential or logical unfolding, let's speak about it. The two pillars of inner life, Das and Nefesh. Human experience unfolds through three fundamental inner systems. Let us speak about the first two. Today we're going to speak about Nefesh, Ruach, there is Neshama. We have a whole dedicated kuntrus just for Neshama, in order to clear up misconceptions and to define what it is, to recognize what the Neshama is, and then again, the experience of the Neshama, because ultimately that's what we want. We want to be able to experience the Neshama. We were saying before about Yichudim. So if a person doesn't have the background to perform Yichudim, or if a person doesn't have the backdrop to do a soul elevation, so we are always relating through the nefesh to the world. There's no escaping that. So if a person's nefesh is tarnished, if it's dirty, if we don't have the proper level and layers of tikkun hamidais, so the quality of the information we can get a spark of inspiration, but the quality of that translation of information is dependent on the quality of our tikkun hamidais. Because the nefesh is what is always interpreting reality. So I can receive the highest piece of wisdom, but my interpretation of it is through dirty lenses. So if you remember, we spoke about the older couple having breakfast, and the man says to his wife, you know, the neighbor, she always puts up dirty washing. It looks dirty, it's great. And day in, day out after breakfast, he mentions this. And then one day the wife cleans the window. And then the next day, all the washing is clean. All the whites are white. Because I'm not relating to reality, I'm relating to my interpretation of reality. So when a person is Isaac in Yechudim, when a person's Isaac in soul elevation, the quality of what you receive always is going to be filtered through the nefesh. Always. No escaping it. I'm always relating to levushim, and Yiddishkeit respects the levushim. Remember, or with an aleph, or with a hey. Ayin. Or with an aleph, or with an ayin. This is a reality. How clean are my lenses? So this is why these Hagdamas are so important, because they're leading us to know how we work. So then when I'm really getting into the world, for example, of the Yehudim, the Arizal, the Rashash, the Baal Shem Tov, whatever world I'm leaning into through the meditative, contemplative practices of letters, the recognition is it's coming from, number one, understanding pattern recognition and pattern utilization, and then pattern creation. I'm becoming aware, did I interpret that correctly? Let me go speak to somebody. So first here in Das Tachton, we're speaking about Das Tachton, Neshama and Nefesh and Ruach. That's what we're speaking about. So these two forces operate continuously within every person. They shape the way we feel, how the world appears, and how reality itself unfolds from the inside out. For the purpose of this teaching, we may translate them as following: Das, self-esteem; Nefesh, confidence. And again, something very important to point out here, that there's many different layers of translation for Das and many different layers of translation for Nefesh. To use one word would be unfair. It's the same way people translate emunah's belief. 20 years ago, a lot of people, I think it was based on the teachings of Rabbi Moshe Shapiro in the English world from Rabbi Tatz, emunah became faith, faithfulness. But we have another way of translating it as well. In a more psychological, cognitive way, emunah as frameworks of thinking. Frameworks of thinking. The way we are thinking is to do with our emunah. So we have different translations of words, and that's okay. Context is golden. Although they intertwine, these two systems perform entirely different roles in the soul. When they stand in their proper places, a person lives with stability, joy, and inner wealth. When they collapse into each other, a person lives in anxiety, hunger, and fragile dependence on circumstances. Understanding the distinctions changes everything. So what we are going to attempt to do is add a language to Das and Nefesh, and the language, the words we will use for Das and Nefesh is self-esteem and confidence. And I just want to make sure everybody is really aware of it. I trust you know everything that we're about to say. This is what we've been discussing week from week. It's another iteration. Another iteration. So, just understand that. Das, the foundation of being, self-esteem. Das reflects the deepest experience of the self. Not what we do, not what we achieve, not what we possess, but what we are. Das expresses an inner knowing. So again, this word is a little bit elusive, inner knowing. Okay, but really I would say Das is awareness. And the reason why we have to fumble around words that don't necessarily add up to the experience is because we can't speak about it. To speak about Das, by definition, is only speaking around it. You can only speak around. You cannot be aware of your awareness. By definition, if you are aware of your awareness, you're in a state of nefesh. Remember what we said, if you are aware of it, you are not it. In The Journey Begins. So we can only speak to words that lead us to an experience, but we can't speak about the experience itself. Good luck. I exist. I am good within myself. I participate in divine consciousness. I carry a neshama. I stand whole. Nothing essential lacks within me. This state does not depend on external validation. It does not fluctuate with success or failure. It does not rise and fall with approval, recognition, or accomplishment. Das forms true self-esteem, the quiet, stable sense that exists itself holds worth. Think about Yom Kippur. Think about Yom Kippur. Think about all the things that we are not allowed to do in Yom Kippur. Why? Where's it trying to get you? It's trying to get you to this place of Das. Yom Kippur equates to Das. Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are two variations of Das. One is a more cerebral expression of Das. So Rosh Hashanah, sorry. Rosh Hashanah is a more cerebral experience of Das, and Yom Kippur is trying to get you to an experience of Das. This Nakuda is a very important Nakuda. A person anchored in Das experiences themselves as Shalem, complete. Life feels inhabited rather than, what's that word? Chaste. The nervous system rests in sufficiency. The soul stands upright within its own being. From this place, joy becomes natural rather than manufactured. So again, this Nakuda of Das, this Nakuda of living from this place behind all the noise, all the thoughts, feelings, and physical sensations, and recognizing that your nefesh is your friend, your nefesh is your friend, your nefesh is the horse that you are riding to take you to your destination. Living from this place can bring to you, when you are there, a sense of joy, a sense of stability, flexibility. And this is something real. This is something real. This is part of our journey. So that's our first level of discussing Das, superficial as it is, our first level of discussing Das. Yes, sir.
So, just to help clarify, specifically within the Inyan of I stand whole, again, we're speaking on the Das level, but when we say that seems to be speaking to beyond a physical, but also on a spiritual level, that we're constantly acknowledging that we fall. So it seems that it's sort of, if we go to this level only, it seems that we're sort of not recognizing that no, the human experience is going to have the ups and downs, and when you're having the downs, theoretically you're not going, like, wouldn't you say you wouldn't really feel that you're going to be standing whole within being Nofel?
Or Nofel is part of that wholeness. When you're in a state of Das, again, falling and rising is part of the journey. It's not that you don't take it seriously, you understand it in context. There's a rhythm and a rhyme, there's a movement to this world. So in a state of Das, I'm Shalem. I'm Shalem within my falling, I'm Shalem within my rising. Hishtavas, it's all the same.
But then based on that, Ashrei should include something for the Nun. It seems like there is a very...
Nun Share Bina.
But it's not, but I'm saying it's not actively being recognized the way all the other letters are. So it just
because you're meant to chap this, we're meant to know this. We're meant to know that we are Das, we're meant to know that we are whole even within our falling. It's inclusive, not exclusive. And it's learning to hold it. That's Hishtavas. Shavisi Hashem lenegdi tamid is Hishtavas. It's all the same. And I relate to it maturely with responsiveness in a healthy way. Does that talk, do you need to process that more?
I'm processing it. It's definitely something to recognize in the context, but say it.
Thank you. Nefesh, the power of becoming. And again, this is the paradox that we face. On one hand, we don't want to be narcissists. We don't like narcissism. We want to live with altruism. But we want to live with an altruism that doesn't lose ourself. We want to make sure that we can give from a place of Das. Das, again, is the negotiator between the neshama and the nefesh. And the letters of the Baal Shem Tov in his communication to his brother-in-law is speaking about this. Really, in essence, what the Baal Shem Tov is speaking about in his letters are and is Das. Baal Shem Tov is connected to the name Aleph Hey Vav Hey, Gematria 17, Gematria Tov. This Nakuda of Tov is a Nakuda of Das. And this name is related to Das, this ability to recognize there's a higher and a lower, and Das is the negotiator. Das is including the higher and the lower. It's not just we have to bring up this world to the heavens. It's as well bringing the heavens down to this world. Ratza v'shov. And there is this dance, and it's not always so straightforward, and it's okay, it's not so straightforward. Shavisi Hashem lenegdi tamid. But there needs to be confidence. Confidence is not a door closing on humility. Das with confidence, the nefesh is the door opening to the expression of the soul. Nefesh, the power of becoming, confidence. Nefesh expresses itself in motion, action, and achievement. Through nefesh, a person experiences skills, or the experiences within nefesh, skills, talents, work, creativity, accomplishment, contribution, building, success, influence in the world. This system generates confidence. The strength and vitality to arise when we see ourselves capable of shaping reality. Confidence matters deeply. Without nefesh, life stagnates. Without accomplishments, creation dries up. Without agency, the human spirit withers. Chevra, you and I, we are to be creative. We're to move, motion, netzach and hod. There's a whole system moving from keser all the way down to malchus, the expression of self. And we are to be innovators. We are to be creative. So important. That's our role. Looking out at the world, as Rabbi Nachman says in Torah Vav, in Torah Hey, based on the Gemara and Sanhedrin, that we should look out at the world and see what's missing. And do something about it, even if it is a matter of davening. But the nefesh is so important, and for so many people, this is where the confusion lays. What? I should be humble and quiet within, dom lifnei Hashem, and I should be that activist? I should be that melech, that go-getter? How does that work? How does that work? But the nefesh never carries the task providing worth. The nefesh is not where you get your worth from a total perspective. The nefesh, your skills and your talents, all your koichas hanefesh, the more you push, it will give you the discovering of the tools that you have to Megala HaKodesh Baruch Hu in the world. It's what the nefesh does. The nefesh, through you working on yourself, through you doing things that you enjoy, through you studying and learning and pushing yourself, becoming more creative, finding new experiences, doing new experiences in the world, you find, oh, I like this. This feels good inside of me. Wow. This feels good, let me use it. Whether a person's learning, whether a person's playing musical instruments, whether a person's a doctor, lawyer, accountant, whether a person's a plumber, an artist, a dancer, whatever it may be. You do things in life, you expose yourself to good, healthy experiences. You will find some experiences you are better at and you enjoy, and some experiences you're not so good at and you don't enjoy. That all is a guiding system of your Yehud. That's a guiding system of maybe what you're meant to be producing, creating, bringing around in the world, being Megala HaKodesh Baruch Hu in your fine, independent, individual way. And doesn't give you your full sense of self. The nefesh is a guiding system. It never carries the task of supplying identity. The nefesh, it never carries the task of creating inner wholeness. The nefesh is not giving you your identity, and it's not giving you your inner wholeness. That work belongs to Das. That work belongs to Das. The more habata, the more I can function from this place of awareness, the more I realize I'm recognizing my narrative, I'm relating to my narrative in the present moment, and all my koichas hanefesh, all my koichas hanefesh are there. It's there to guide me in how to Megala HaKodesh Baruch Hu in the world. And again, we need to push ourselves. We need to grow. We need to challenge ourselves. We've said before, in order to move out of your comfort zone, you first have to be in your comfort zone. But then when you move out of your comfort zone and there's a delicate act, you're pushing enough where you feel that tension, yet it's not overdoing it, that you can't hold it anymore. That sweet point it's at that point you discover new things about yourself. That's the way the world works. That's the way the Borei Olam created the world. So you have to sweat. You have to get your heart rate up. You have to get calluses on your fingers. You have to, if you're playing drums, your wrists hurt and you get calluses on your fingers in different places from playing guitar, whatever it may be. If you're boxing, you're going to get bruised. But this nakuda of pushing ourselves is where we discover other elements of self. Koiches hanefesh. That's how the Borei Olam created the world. Yet my identity is not that. They are levushim for my identity. They are levushim for me to share Godlight in the world. And now, the great confusion. And again, anything I'm sharing here, this great confusion, I think about this. I'm talking. When I wrote this, I'm looking out at the world. I'm speaking to people. And there's something that's off. There's something that's off. When we look out at the world, something is not 100% aligned. It's not right. So when I read these words, think about it. Listen to this. If it's true, if it's not true, whatever it may be, ask questions. Think about it. Is this real? Is this real? Don't take what I'm saying for granted at all. Don't take what I'm saying for granted. The great confusion. When confidence, nefesh, replaces self-esteem. Here lies one of the most subtle and destructive errors in the human development. Many people unknowingly move their self-esteem, das, into their confidence, nefesh. Then a formulation becomes, I am as good as what I achieve. As long as achievement flows, they feel alive. When success fades, the self collapses. This confusion creates, for many people, a familiar voice. I will be okay when I have that car. I will feel whole when I'm in that better relationship. I'll feel happy when I have that new job. When the money arrives, when the relationship stabilizes, when the books are published, when the business grows, when the children succeed, when I pray better, when I learn more, when life finally looks the way I think it should. In Yiddishkeit, the way that we were created is that we need to achieve. We have koiches hanefesh. Every single person has their genius. Every single person has their godlight to share in the world. You are genius. You are amazing. You are great. Your nefesh has something through das to share in the world that's never been around before. The you that's here in this incarnation was never around since the beginning of time. As Rabbi Nachman tells us, there's no same soul set. The neshama, ruach, and nefesh is new each time. The different tenuah, the different knatures. Every single soul set has different knatures. And every single soul set has something to give that's never been around before. And when we graduate from this world, it will never be around again. And we have a neshama. The neshama should be giving to us, or the neshama is always giving to us. Am I drawing it into my consciousness, das? And then am I using my levushim of my koiches hanefesh to share that in the world? So when this confusion occurs structurally, the psyche forms the following equation. Circumstance equates to core state. What's going on the outside, whether the outside of self, or whether the outside of das. So my nefesh, or the outside world, produces my core state. And we've spoken about this in other places where there's two walls before we meet ourselves. One wall is the physical world around us. That's das tachton chitzoni, the physical world around us. But then we have another wall, a more internal wall, das tachton pnimi. If we don't recognize that there's a das tachton chitzoni and a das tachton pnimi, I could never recognize that I am das. If I think that I am subconsciously the outside world, or if I think that I am my nefesh experience, that's going to hold me back from meeting my truest self. And anything that I do is going to be relating from a thicker perspective to my nefesh. I'll be relating to the world through a thicker perspective of my interpretation of the world and not the world itself. So for example, it could be, I'm not going to speak because I feel embarrassed. I'm not going to speak because the microphone's not working. Whatever it may be, where really you should be speaking. But because a person felt embarrassed, they didn't speak. There's 2 or 3 different layers here of reasoning that we can create for ourselves of why we will do or won't do something. I'm in my right to do. So again, this nakuda is such an important nakuda. Circumstance can end up creating core state. And it's not just external, outside of self. It's as well the nefesh. The nefesh can produce a story where I will not do something when I should be doing it. Because something came with the wanting to do something. I want to speak, I'm a good speaker, I should speak. But somebody may look at you and make fun of you. Somebody may look at you and think it's silly. I may think, I'm going to mess this up. I've done it before. So we are always relating to our narrative. Do we choose to explore or ignore? Do we choose to bypass? In a state of das, when you recognize your core identity, I'm the witness. My core identity is shalem, and I recognize this is a way I can Megala HaKodesh Baruch Hu in the world. And it's true to say I have other thoughts, feelings, and physical sensations. We've been speaking about that for months. But the question is, are you doing what you are doing, or are you not doing what you are not doing because of any other reason apart from your nefesh story? Has external circumstances become the language of not doing or doing something when you know you should be doing it? How many people I speak to, I know I should be doing this. I know I should be doing this. You know. Das, they know, they have this inner understanding they should be doing this. I know. So what's not letting you do it? It's only one thing and one thing only, the nefesh. That's it, always. So a person can go on holiday and sit by the beach, but they could be very worried about their work, having enough money or not. They're on holiday. Physically, they're in the most beautiful of places, yet inside their mind, they're occupied. A person, I always think, I meet people very often, and I see greatness in so many people. Unactualized greatness in so many people. And even a couple of days ago, I had a conversation with somebody, and I said, did you ever think about doing this? And they looked at me and they go, I'd love to do it, but I wouldn't be able to do it. Why not? And you get into this whole conversation of nefesh talk. I'd love to do this, I'd love to do that, I'd love to do the other. I hear people say, I don't have time. So it's very fascinating because on a certain respect, there's no such thing as time, and there is such thing as time. And there is as well such thing as what is important to me. If something is important to you, you can make a choice to do it. If something is important to you, but really your days are full with other activities that need to take precedence, okay, I get that. But a lot of people, it's like, I don't have time. Well, really, there's all the time in the world. You just have to stop doing one thing and do something else, or if it's worth it, or you have to, take this time where it's wasting time. It's not really wasting time because there's no such thing as wasting time. You can't waste time. What you can do is not do something productive. Right? It's interesting. Does the word time, can you smell it? Can you taste it? Can you feel it? Can you hold it? It's interesting, noun and verb. How we make time into something physical when it's very ethereal. And the nefesh does this to us, wants to protect us. But I'm relating to my nefesh experience in the present moment. Circumstances end up relating to core state. Inside-out reality is how we should function. So many people function from an outside-in reality. Outside-in is my circumstances affect the way I experience this world. That's not how we want to live.
That's not at all.
How we want to live. We want to take it into consideration, but it's not how we want to live. I just want to finish this and then we will take questions. If circumstances raise, I raise. If circumstances fall, I fall. But no human nervous system can survive long in such a fragile society or economy. When achievement carries the burden of identity, disappointment turns into existential injury. Failure feels like annihilation. Loss becomes personal collapse. Life begins to feel like a test of worth rather than a field of experience. Opportunities. Life is light. Everything is opportunity. Anxiety grows. Comparison intensifies. Joy becomes conditional. Peace disappears. This condition explains the quiet epidemic of modern life. People who have everything and feel nothing. Excellent to end on such happy words. But Chevra, this is where we are right now. This is part of the Geula process. Part of the Geula process. And again, I'm asking of you, look out at the world and notice everything we've been saying. This is exile. This is the last leg of our exile. The Sfarim HaKadoshim explain beginning, middle, and end. It's the recalibration to Tselem Elokim. It's becoming the Baldas once again. It's recognizing I am consciousness. I'm the witness of my experience. I'm the witness of that which is going on around me. And you can own that. We can own that. We deserve it. What does that mean as a whole shiur within itself? But we do. Sfarim HaKadoshim speak about this. And these are Hagdamas. These are Hagdamas to live life in the fullest, most wonderful and wondrous ways. So before we turn off the camera and before we end, any questions that want to be asked now before we break up into our groups? Yes, sir.
I had a question that I answered simultaneously, but I want to know whether you found it to be where you resonated with it, about the nefesh.
Speak a little bit louder.
I was thinking, why is it that the nefesh has this tendency or necessity to come in and protect and stop one from experiencing potential pain, as if someone doesn't have the ability to make it through that pain, or grow out of that pain, or just not be destroyed by it. And I thought maybe it's because the nefesh is the lower part of self that doesn't have that very awareness.
100%.
Therefore, it gets lost in the experience.
100%.
And it has to come up and say, no, you have to stop this, don't do this, or else. Because it's inherently part of the nefesh. But it's coming to save you. That's the thing. It's coming to save you. But
exactly.
It doesn't have that very
the
balance.
nefesh always wants to save us and make us feel secure and certain. And sometimes it will do that through us getting angry. Sometimes it will do that through a voice coming up saying, you will fail at this if you try this. And that's how the nefesh does it. The nefesh has the maturity, according to the Sefer Cheshbon HaNefesh, of a 6-7-year-old. And we are to be, the das is to be the teacher of the nefesh and elevate the nefesh, expand it, deepen it. Yeah, thank you. Beseda. So we're going to create a situation here where, as usual, just take a moment. What have you heard? What have you heard? What do you walk with? What's going to help you and develop you? And Be'ezras Hashem Mamash, we should go from strength to strength. L'chaim tovim u'l'shalom bracha v'atzlacha.